Shalom. All praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahushai, Ba'asham, Rachak, Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, and salutations to all your sincere Akim out there that are pushing this gospel. Alright, and this is basically, what I'm going to be going into is this series I just started watching, okay? And it's called, and you can clearly see the title right here, Black Dynamite. So, the series, it gives us, it's all right, it has a lot of prophetic, things going on in it, but most people, it goes over majority of the people's heads because they don't know about this kind of thing. And this is what he does, man. You have shows like they put most of his plans and most of the prophecies in these kind of shows. And this show right here, Black Dynamite, this series is very similar to the Boondocks in the way that it depicts, the so-called nigger black culture. All right, Beto and based in the 70s. But what I wanted to actually go into is this episode right here, all right, going into, you know, the slavery or the enslavement of the so-called white people, which are of course the Edomites, which is 100% scriptural, And when I just saw this episode and I saw what was going on in it, which is basically, all right, the blacks in the neighborhood, okay, these blacks, they rounded up a bunch of Edomites and then put them in chains, put them in slavery. I had to do a lesson on that, man, because that is prophetic. That's beautiful, because this Black Dynamite has a lot of, it shows a lot of Esau's agendas in it. Okay, whether it's different diseases that have been put into the black community, whether it's the way in which the slave trade affected wildlife, all right, whether it's the fact that Esau has full control over all these so-called black celebrities, the black musicians, and they use them to actively push their agenda in order to destroy the Jake, these Israelite so-called Israelite communities. So I cannot so-called, but so-called black communities, which are of course the Israelites, or even the fact that he puts all kinds of diseases in the food, in the water of the Israelite communities, Negro, Latino, and Native American communities, in order to poison them and to bring further destruction upon them with unhealthy lifestyles. Okay, it actually shows all of this, and this is actually a very great show to watch. The season one was pretty good, and the season two is kind of a little bit. It shows a lot of wickedness, but this still exposes Esau's wickedness, man. And this is the second video I'm doing on this, and I just recently started watching it. But this one is more, I don't know the word I want to use, but this is basically an expose going into what was shown in this episode, because this that is shown right here, you see the Edomites in chains, in shackles. Guess what? That is scriptural because this will happen. Okay, Jake, Israelites will round up you so-called white people, which are the Edomites according to the Bible, and put you in chains, put you in slavery. I know the funny thing about this whole thing is that the reason why the Israelites in this series, okay, the so-called black people in this series wanted to put these devils, these Edomites in chains is because of outrage, because they saw the movie Roots. And I remember the Apostle Taha talking about this, that when that movie first, that series of Roots first came out, that Jake everywhere was outraged, man, because they realized what was happening to them, during slavery. How Esau actually put them in slavery, because Esau is always hiding the truth about slavery. And that's why there's so much outrage, concerning you devils, okay, because all the truth about what you have done on the earth is coming out, for the whole world to see. And now everybody on the earth sees for you for who you truly are, the devils of the world, okay? That's why you see critical race theory, you see so much talk about reparations, because deep down in the spirit, Jake knows that there has to be there has to be reparations, there has to be a reckoning, a payment for what has happened, okay? That the sins of the past, not just the Israelites but the whole world, they know that the sins of the past has not been forgiven. That what you devils did during the time that you are in rulership, putting our people in slavery, putting the so-called Negroes, Latinos and Native Americans in slavery and destroying our people, you still need to pay for that. Okay. So let me just close this out and get some precepts. Let me see. Okay, no tabs open. So let me just close out and get some precepts. All right. So the first precept I'm going to go to. And you should already know what it is, man. Revelation, the 13th chapter. Okay. And I'll probably play a little bit of the video, but just a little bit because I don't really want to. I don't want to start getting all copy. Start getting copyrights claims and he jumping trying to take down this video because I was quote unquote copyright. But this is the book of Revelation 13 verse 10, and it reads, "He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and faith of the saints." And that's right. Because you devils put our people in slavery, because you devils put the Israelites in slavery, you must also go into captivity as well, go into slavery as well. And that time is coming. The time where you will be put in chains as well. The time where you will be put in slavery to serve under the Israelites as well is coming. Not on this side, of course, but in the kingdom, all right? When we have those new bodies and we can put you devils in slavery. And guess what? Your slavery is going to be as brutal, Slakia, it's going to be even more brutal and even more hardcore than once you put our own people through. All right, because this movie is actually telling, because it shows that in the spirit, Jake knows that there has to be a reckoning for what was done to them. All right, whether it's through reparations, which of course we already know that just that paper payment, or the reparations that Jake in the world is looking for isn't going to be true reparations, because the true reparations is you Edomites going into slavery, and Jake knows this in the spirit. All right, because pretty soon Jake is going to find out that you know monetary reparation, just sending a check and giving every single every single Israelite that was put in captivity a sum of money is not going to be enough. The real reparations would be you Edomites being put in chains and going into captivity as well. And that is what, according to the scriptures, we are looking for, right? Because that's what is promised to us in the scriptures, that we would have you Edomites in captivity. And of course, as the scripture says, we would possess, all of you as, all of you, and the you I'm talking about is the heathen, as an inheritance, okay, as property, because that is what you are. All right, so let me get this preset real quick. Like I think it's Genesis 27. All right, here it is. So this is the book of Genesis 27, and I will start from verse 36. Genesis 27, verse 36. And he said, "Is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing." And he said, "Hast thou not reserved a blessing for me?" And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, "Behold, I have made him the Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son?" And that's right, because Jacob, which is the forefather of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, in other words, you Edomite, Isakia, that's Satan right there, you Israelites. And Esau, Edom, the forefather of the so-called white people, which are still Edomites, all right? Because Esau is Edom. We already know who is going into captivity and who is going to be a ruler over whom, all right? Because it's going to be us Israelites over you Edomite, just like it was shown in this episode right here. And guess what? Nobody is going to be taking those chains off you, and nobody is going to remove you or free you or emancipate you. You're not going to have it, because you don't have a redeemer. All right, especially, and even we in this time, we are still yet in our captivity, because we were not, because the Israelites were not freed from the chains but rather, the ownership was taken out of the hand of the average Edomite and put into the hands of the elites. Now we are directly slaves under the elite because we are still in slavery. We are still in chains to this day. All right. What we're waiting for is for our Redeemer, because the real person that is going to free us from these chains, free us from captivity, the only person that can do that for us is not no goddamn Abraham Lincoln, but it's our Lord Yahweh. So let me get this preset as well. All right. This is the one that is in Psalms, the second chapter. I'm just going to go through all the precepts that prove that you Edomites are going into slavery under the Israelites, and you Israelites are going to have Edomites in slavery. So this is the book of Psalms 2, and I will start from verse 7. Psalms 2, verse 7. I will declare the decree. Yahweh hath said unto me, Thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. And that's right, okay? Because we, as the Israelites, have already been ordained, it has already been written from the beginning of time that we would have the heathen in captivity. We'd have the heathen as slaves, as our inheritance, and we would put you Edomites in chains. And guess what? That's written in the scriptures. So let me get that. And we would have the nobles of Esau in chains and fetters of iron. All right. The same way that you put us in chains is the same way that we're going to put you devils in chains as well. Because the image that I showed you, all right, we have, that is going to, and let me go back to that. Let me go back to that. This this image right here, you see of Edomites in chains with their hands up, completely under the subjection of, under the rule of these Israelites. You are going to see that same thing happen in the kingdom. This is a future prophecy that you are seeing unfolding right before your eyes, and it's being shown to you in a comedic format, so you might not take it seriously. But this is very serious because it will happen. So now the book of Psalms 149, and I will start from verse 7, and it reads, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgments written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye Yahweh. So there you have it once again. Another precepts, first Revelation 13, verse 10, and now Psalms 149, verse 9, showing you that the saints of the Most High, in other words, the true men of the Lord, the elect. Because if we go into this word saints, and I don't have the data here right now, but if you go into this word saints, the word that you see there is Bachayar, Bachayar, Bachayar. In other words, the elect. All right, that's the word that you will see there. So the elect, their hope right now, their faith and their belief is that they will have you Edomites in slavery. They will have the heathen in slavery in order to repay, because that is part of the inheritance that we will receive. All right, right? We've already been promised that by the Most High, and the Most High will not go back on His word. Okay, all these precepts that I'm reading to you, these are future prophecies. These are yet to happen, and they will happen in the coming time. When our Lord Yahushua comes, this is what He's coming to do. He's coming to put all you heathens in chains, in captivity, and give you to the Israel, to His elect, the whole house of Israel. All right. And I want to get a few more precepts, going into the slavery, because it will be a harsh slavery, like I said. Because even the scriptures tell you that we should put on you double the yoke that you put on us, return unto you double of what you did to us, because that is what is going to happen, and that's what we're going to do when we have you in captivity. So let me see where I can get that precept. So okay, I can't remember where I found that, where that precept comes to. Basically, it's going into return unto them double for what they have done unto our people. I can't remember where that precept. I can't remember where that precept is. Okay, here it is. Okay, here it is. All right. So this is book of Revelations 3, it's like a Revelation 13, and I will start from verse 4. Revelation 13, verse 4. It's like a, not 13, 18. It's like my bad. Revelation 18, and I will start from verse 4, and it reads, "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. In the cup which she hath fill to her double." And this is going into the daughter of Babylon. In other words, the kingdom which we Edomites are ruling over right now, in control of and indulging in all manner of wickedness. But guess what? Once our Lord Yahushua comes back and destroys this kingdom, we are going to return unto you double, because you're going to be getting your ass beat every day in the kingdom. And we always talk about this when we talk about your slavery, okay? Because we already told you how it's going to be. You're going to be put into hardcore slavery, and after 1,000 years, you're going to be rounded up and burnt up, because the fate of you devils, ultimately, the plans for the most High has for you devils is to ultimately destroy you. All right. So now let me go out to that Psalms 149, just to get the meaning of the Hebrew for that word elect. So like I'm not elect, so like I'm not elect, I meant saints. Just to make sure that it actually is Bakhta Bakhayar, which is the Paleo Hebrew for the word elect. All right. I don't get it. Data is there, but it's not loading. This is how this is probably E, man. Not allowing the data to load. There we go. This is the word right here. Saints, Hasid, Has. Okay, that's not even Has. That is Hasayad. That word is Hasayad. Well, this is the word. This is a different word that I use. I use a different word. Has Hasayad. Let me get the audio from me. Let me get the audio.
Strong's H 2623. Hasid. Hasid.
Right, and that's the word right there. Hasid. Which the word which the word for elect is Bachayar, which also applies this, which also is the going to saints, the chosen, because at the end of the day, all the saints will be Israelites, all right? Because that's exactly who the saints are. They are all Israelites. The elect are all Israelites, because they will be chosen out of the nation of Israel, and only the nation of Israel, right? But there is something else I want to get, concerning this video right here that you see right here. This video of this black dynamite that you see right here, because eventually later on down in the video, they eventually opt to free the so these their Edomite slaves that they put into captivity. And once they did that, just showing you the mind state of these devils, all right? And I don't really want to go and show it. I don't really want to show it because of Isa and his copyright madness. But basically, what happened is that as soon as they freed these devils, man, the devils decided to integrate themselves into the J community, which of course once again is showing you more truth. They decided to integrate themselves among the Israelites and started to fight for equal rights and started to and basically they are trying to fight for equal rights and trying to usurp the position of our people, which which you should already know the piece I want to get. That is Wisdom of Solomon, the 12th chapter, and that's proof right there that once we slap those chains on you devils, we're never going to remove them. Okay, we're never going to remove those chains from you, because this is what Esau does whenever. Whenever we put him in an esteemed position, or even put him even to even and or even um put him in a high place. All right, so this is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, Ecclesiasticus. My bad. I stuck in my bad. My bad. I lost my chain of thought because I was speaking about what I was making that commentary. But this is the book of Ecclesiasticus 12, verse 10, and it reads, "Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away." And that's right. Never trust your enemy, because these devils, these Edomites, they are our enemies, all right? And they deserve no mercy, because guess what? The scripture said that word, that he that has shown no mercy, and the Most High will show no mercy to him that has shown no mercy, all right? Because Esau showed no mercy to our people when he had us in captivity. Guess what? The Most High will show no mercy to him as well. And we, when we're in the kingdom, we'll show no mercy to you devils as well. We aren't going to, it's not going to be a situation where you're going to slavery for 400 years and then we free you. That's not going to happen, because once they put those chains on you, we're never letting go, we're never allowing you devils to get up, what the scripture says. Don't allow them to let me get that picture, They don't allow them to gut abroad or fill the face of the world with cities. But I'll get this one first, gut abroad. Let me just check on. All right, let me get the other one. I think that is the book of Obadiah. Even just talk about that. That you should It's like I can't remember where that piece is at. So I'm just going to have to type it down. And I remember that piece now. That was speaking about the wicked woman, not the Edomites. But basically, this is the book of Isaiah 14, verse 12, and it reads, "Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that did not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities." And now listen to this. "For I will rise up against them, saith Yahweh of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant, and this and son and nephew, saith Yahweh." And that's basically what's going to happen to you Edomites. The Most High is going to kill off every single, the Most High is going to kill off all of you Edomites, and he's going to make sure that you never go, you're never able to come into a place of power or authority ever again. He will make sure that you perish just like your dung, that you'll be buried in the earth and forgotten, and nobody will ever remember that there was ever a pale group of people on the earth known as the wicked. Now, going back to the book of Ecclesiasticus, the 12th chapter, to continue reading our precepts, because this shows you that once we put those chains on you Edomites, we'll never let you go, because you understand what will happen once you do that. The same thing that happened during the Dark Ages, because what happened in the Dark Ages was that Jake had Esau in captivity. Jake had Esau as slaves, but then Jake started easing up on allowing Esau to gain power. Have seats of authority, and to to integrate into their own society, their own kingdoms, and even go as far as to, like I said, have seats of authority. So you start having Edomites, ruling during the Dark Ages, and that's how they got into power. That's how it happened. And then with the various other factors, the Black Plague and various other factors caused Jake to to lose their power and Esau to rise up again. But we know that was all prophecy, because Esau was slated to go into darkness for 1,000 years, which is the duration of the Middle Ages, and then after that come back again and continue to deceive the earth even more than he did when he came into power as the Greek and the Romans. So that was prophecy being fulfilled. And now the next prophecy concerning you Edomites and concerning the Israelites is what? For Esau to be the end of the world. So this world ends with Esau being in rulership, which of course he's in rulership right now, and the world is ending right now. And a new world begins with Jacob being in power. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And in that world, when Jacob is in power, you Edomites are going to be in slavery. So Ecclesiasticus 12, verse 11. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. So no matter how softly these devils come to you, no matter how much they act as if they are sorry and they repented, because that's a lot of these Edomites are even doing right now, because he sees his kingdom coming to an end, and he knows that once this place comes to an end, that Jake is going to be in rulership next. So now they're trying to they are seeking to please the poor, trying to look for sympathy from our people. But guess what? The elect, the ones that are going to be putting you in those chains, already know what it is. And they already know the mind of you devils, man. Now that you are going into captivity, you're now looking for mercy because you devils are cowards. That's why you hide the truth. That's why you run away from the truth. You call the different the different things that expose you for the wickedness that you have done. What do you say about them? Oh, it's hateful. Oh, it's racist. Oh, it's divisive. But you weren't thinking about how hateful and racist and divisive it was when you were benefiting from it. But now that it is exposing your wickedness and showing how evil you truly are, what you truly are, the devils you truly are. That's when it becomes hateful. That's when no race becomes hateful. That's when grouping people into races becomes hateful. That's when being speaking about race becomes hateful. When you created the designation for whites and black and the so-called white and black and these different color designations, when you made the different group divided people in divided how did it, I can try to remember when you divided the earth into Caucasian, Negroid, and Mongoloid. When you benefited from all that, it wasn't hateful. But now that it's being but now that it's being used to expose your wickedness, now it is hateful. So anyway, continuing. Set him not by thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he take thy seat, and thou art the last. Remember my words, and be pricked therewith. And that was exactly what. And now let me go back to that video. And that was exactly what these Edomites were trying to do once they became free. They were trying to usurp Jake's position, trying to take their place, trying to take away their community. You're trying to they're trying to slowly integrate themselves with among them and then usurp them, because this is how these devils work. They don't have they can never make their own thing. They steal, kill, and destroy. They steal from everybody else, and that is why they call themselves every other name on the earth except for the Edomites. That's why that's how you know Alexander's forefathers became the rulers in Macedon. That's how these devils became known as the Greeks, the Romans, the Brits, the Spaniards, the Italians, okay, the Portuguese, because the Germans, the original Germans were Israelites, all right. And this is actually very well documented in history. The original Germanic tribes, the so-called barbarians that took down the Romans, those were Israelites, because if you go into your history, the barbarian tribes were actually Germanic tribes. The Vikings, the Spartans, these were all Israelites. They weren't like any of the crackers that you see on the screen. I have to use that term because that's basically what these devils are. All right, that's what they are. No salt, dry, and they break and they break very easily. Okay. So yeah, that's basically just all I wanted to go into concerning that. You devils are going into slavery, and it is something that is already apparent, and it's something that's in the back of the minds of every Israelite, to see you devils in chains like this. So with that, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahushai, Ba'asham Achak Wadash, Wa Abad Babal. And through the Spirit, I hope you are you are quite edified, and burn this into your memory, because you will see this exact same expression and face on these devils once we put them in captivity. So with that, Shalom.